Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on nanotechnology and surface engineering. We are continuing with our thermochemical decomposition and precursor methods. So, in our previous lecture we left with carbon nanotubes. Carbon nanotubes are long and thin cylinders of carbon which was discovered in 1991 by S. Ijima. Carbon nanotubes are thought of as a sheet of graphite, which is a hexagonal lattice of carbon rolled into a cylinder. The figure shows three types of carbon nanotubes structure. First is armchair, second one is zigzag, and third one is chiral structures. Single-walled nanotubes are 2 nanometers in diameter and 100 micrometer long. They are prepared with metal catalysts, and the last figure is multi-walled nanotubes. Then the properties of nanotubes. First is electrical properties, metallic or semiconducting. The electrical properties are either metallic or semiconducting depending on the diameter and chirality of tube. The previous figure which showed the armchair, the first one is metallic and the third one is chiral, is the semiconducting. Then from the synthesis we have 2/3 portion of semiconducting and 1/3 of metallic in general. There is a quantum confinement effect which has limited number of electronic states in the circumferential directions. Then metallic carbon nanotubes which has very few defects. They are very good thermal conductors, having a factor of twice than that of a diamond. There is a magnetoresistance which is more conducting under DC magnetic field. Then we have vibrational properties. There are two normal modes of vibrations and frequencies are Riemann active depending on the nanotube radius. Then we have mechanical properties and these are the numbers which are written. These are very stiff and it is 10 times stiffer than that of steel. Tensile strength is 45 billion Pascal, which is 20 times stronger than the steel. Then we have the applications of carbon nanotubes. They are used as large scale development methods, and here the price reduction is also there. Field emission and shielding, it is used in computers, that is in field effect transistors, switching components, and which is 10⁴ times faster with higher density. It can be used in the fuel cells, chemical sensors, catalysts, and mechanical reinforcement. Then the next is liquid phase preparation. Physical one is solvent remover. Crystallization is not adequate for the nanoparticle formation, while in chemical it is having liquid involving reaction. First we will go with the basic equation of chemical formula here. Here if C is higher, that is the third here on the right hand side, if C content is which is highly insoluble, then there are chances that formation of very small and number of nuclei, and this will result in giant aggregates composed of nanoparticles due to high density and low mean free path in liquid phase. It requires to suppress aggregation of nanoparticles using electrical double layer surfactants and polymers. In general, liquid phase preparation has advantages like they are highly developed, they have high controllability, and it produces very sophisticated products. But at the same time, it has the disadvantages also, that it is more of an art than a technology, and it requires lots of chemical species and process steps. Process steps like aging, filtration, washing, drying, sintering, that is the heat. Next is metal nanoparticles. So here the decomposition is done through thermal and sonochemical. There is here one example of a chemical reaction, and there will be a salt reduction, that is salt plus reducing agent with polymer stabilizer in water. Here one example is given, that is AgNO3 plus a reducing agent, that is alcohol plus stabilizer PVP in the water. The supply of energy is given by thermal and radiation. Thermal or radiation. Radiation means gamma rays, ultraviolet, and microwave. Supply of energy can also be through ultrasonic, ultrasound, and electrical. Then the third one we are having is semiconductors. I wish to tell all of you that the next few slides are very high in technical depth, which is beyond the course curriculum, so we may omit few equations which are very hard to decode. So the third one is semiconductors. It is a pyrolysis of organometallic in the presence of polymer stabilizer or capping agent at elevated temperatures. Here we will be omitting this portion. Here the process is followed by rapid cooling up to 180 degrees Celsius, that is short nucleation, and gentle reheating, that is from 230 to 260 degrees Celsius, that is Ostwald's ripening. The selective precipitation, that is repeated dissolution in 1-butanol and PPT with methanol, that is classification. We will still be omitting this portion, so if you don't get this, no issue is there in that. Then we have forced hydrolysis for oxides. Oxides are more stable thermally and chemically, and Ostwald ripening is generally not that important. Hydrolysis and condensation of metal salts with addition of catalysts, that is acids and bases. Here is one more formula, one more example is given. Out of this, which we are getting is 50 nanometer to 2 micrometer SiO2, and here we are having one more for chemical reaction, which is followed by 24-hour aging and quenching. And furthermore, chemical processes are given here in last two equations also. Fifth one is suppression of nanoparticle aggregation. So the fifth one is suppression of nanoparticle aggregation. In polymer solution, we have polymers like PVP, PVC, PVA, dextran, and surfactants or capping agents are thiophenolate, glutathione peptide, and there will be a simultaneous polarization of monomers, as it can be seen in this figure. And from a single precursor for nanoparticles and polymers are also given in this figure. Next one is Sol gel processing. So Sol gel technologies and their products are shown here. So first we are having a metallic alkoxide solution, and through hydrolysis polymerization we can get a sol, and through coating of metal alkoxide solution and sol we can obtain xerogel film. Similarly, we can obtain wet gel and uniform particles over here through various processes. That is, the gelling of sol gives us wet gel, precipitation of sol gives us uniform particles, and spinning of sol through this furnace gives us ceramic fibers. If we focus on further on xerogel film, then heating of this film gives us a dense film. Then in the wet gel, if we evaporate it, then we get a xerogel, and then further heating will give us dense ceramics. In other way, if we take this wet gel and we do extraction of this solvent, then we get an aerogel. So this is all about sol gel technologies and their products. Next is precursors. So metal alkoxides are designated as M bracket over subscript Z in the organic solvent. So here we need to understand that M is actually one of these materials or one of these substances. OR means an alkoxy group. OR is an alkoxy group, and Z is the valence or oxidation state of the metal. Then the metal salts, that is chloride, oxychloride, nitrate, etc. in the aqueous solution. These are much cheaper and easier to handle. Then we have reactions which are more difficult to control in case of precursors. Then the basic mechanism is also explained over here. That is hydrolysis process. That is we have MOR, which is already shown over here as a precursor, plus H2O. Then we get MOH, that is hydroxide, and ROH over here. So this is a hydrolysis process where we are getting these hydroxides. Then we have polycondensation of MOH plus ROH, that is ROM. So we get MOM plus ROH. And one more process is over here, MOH plus HOM gives us MOM plus H2O. This occurs sequentially and in parallel. That is, these two processes are polycondensation. Next we have gel formation. So sol gel transformation for silica is shown in this figure, and we have already seen this gel formation in 2 slides ago. So if you wish to go through this, you can pause this video over here and draw these figures. Then we have characteristics of sol gel processes. That is having low processing temperature, molecular level homogeneity. It is useful in making complex metal oxides, temperature sensitive organic inorganic hybrid materials, and thermodynamically unfavorable or metastable materials. So this is the characteristics of sol gel processes. Then the next topic is confined growth. So the next topic is confined growth. So the growth is in the structured materials. That is, it can be in polymer matrix, in layered materials like kaolinite, in porous materials, zeolites or mesoporous silica, in carbon nanotubes. So confined growth can be observed in such kind of structural materials. Next is the growth Next is the growth in microemulsion. Microemulsion. So the definition is surfactants, that is hydrophilic plus hydrophobic groups, anionic, cationic or amphophile, and these are micelles versus microemulsions. Then we have critical micelle concentration, that is also known as CMC, and we have emulsion versus microemulsion. See, once again I want to clarify that these are the topics which are given in very depth, and this will not be asked directly into the examination. So you don't need to worry on this because this is of a very depth in the material science. Then we have preparation of nanoparticles in microemulsion. So here it can be seen that we are having making of nanoparticles in water nanodroplets. So this is the hydrocarbon matrix, and this inside it we are having diffusion of inorganic precursors. These are the surfactants which can be seen on the outer periphery, and these are the aqueous domains. So these are the surfactants. Then ETOH reductions, and we get this. At the same time, here in this THF we get NaBH4 reduction, and we again get this. So this is the preparation of nanoparticles in microemulsion. Then the next is droplet to particle conversion, that is aerosol phase preparation. So here we have introduction, that is confined growth in droplets, that is microemulsion. We have already seen this in our previous slides. Then the droplets or aerosol formation. So two processes are there: evaporation, that can be seen over here, and then we have condensation. At the same time we have atomization and spray pyrolysis. So this is the way we have droplet or aerosol formation. So on the left hand side we are having a pure substance or azeotropic mixture along with the solution of precursors. So for the pure substance it is evaporated into vapor molecules, and then it is condensed or coagulated into submicron particles. Similarly, the solution of precursor is atomized into micro-sized droplets, and then drying or reaction, that is spray pyrolysis, again gives us submicron particles. Then the advantage of aerosol preparation: the media is both liquid plus gas. There will be a use of solution chemistry from well developed liquid phase process, use of advantage of gas phase preparation. It is continuous, simple process, and less number of chemical species, and no sintering process, that is heat treatment process, is required. In case of gas to droplet interaction, we have evaporation or drying / condensation. And there will be a confined growth in case of aerosol preparation. Now we will see the methods of atomization, that is first is disintegration or nebulization of liquid or suspension. It is done by pressure atomizer, two fluid atomizer, rotating disc atomizer, ultrasonic nebulizer, and electrospray. The next is, that is second is conventional spray pyrolysis. So here precursors are liquids or solutions, and equipment is given over here. That is, on the left hand side we are having ultrasonic atomizer, which is having inert gas at the top and precursor solution at the bottom. This is taken into a hot wall reactor surrounded by the furnace, and then through the filter we are having acid absorber, and there will be an exhaust gas over here. So this is the way we are having conventional spray pyrolysis. The mechanism of droplet to particle conversion is given by drying of solvent, solute precipitation, salt to product conversion by solid liquid gas interaction, solid or liquid with gas interaction, and nuclei growth by sintering. There are few examples of this spray pyrolysis, that is, these are metals, oxides, carbides, sulfides and nitrates. Then we have various morphologies, that is solid, hollow spheres or fragmented particles, and spheres composed of small nuclei with various porosity. So here we have droplet. Droplet is having a drying droplet over here. Further drying gives us dry particle, or it can give us dry hollow particle. Intra-particle reaction gives us porous particle, and then sintering, that is heat treatment process, gives us solid particles. On the other side we are having dry hollow particle, in which fragmentation gives us intra-particle reaction, which gives us after sintering we get bimodal size distribution. On other side of this dry hollow particle, through intraparticle reaction we get porous hollow particle, and further sintering again gives us the solid particle. So these are the various morphologies. Next is hollowness of particles. Solid dense particles are here obtained if the center reaches the saturation when the surface to start precipitate, that is the critical supersaturation. If the volume concentration due to the density increase is higher than 1/16th part by density increase, is known as percolation theory. Now there are few characteristics of this, that is multi-component particles, these are easily prepared, various types of morphology, spherical particles, and hard to prepare, the nanoparticles, that's why it is inefficient. The next is assisted spray pyrolysis, that is salt assisted. We are having solution of precursor plus water soluble stable salt. Salt should be melt but not decompose in the processing temperatures. So here we are having a carrier gas along with the atomizer. It passes through the tube reactor, and there is a collector along with the washing. So this is the figure, shows Y2O3 ZrO2 particles synthesized by CAD and SAD respectively. Here nanoparticles form and grow dispersed in salt, and crystallinity increased due to the enhanced solubility and mass transfer of precursor in the metal. Then we have polymer assisted, that is solution is metal salt plus polymer plus water. Polymers used are PVP, PVA, dextran, and then the solvent evaporation, polymer matrix formation, and precursor reaction in the sequence. Nanoparticles are preparable at the relatively high precursor concentrations with relatively low concentration of polymer, and here this is the example is given of AgNO3 plus PVP in the water. So here we are ending this portion of thermal or chemical decomposition precursor of metal and organics. If we now we will go into the syllabus right now. So if we go through the syllabus here, then we were at the second chapter and we have completed this portion, that is thermochemical and flame decomposition of metal organic precursor methods. So the next chapter that will be started will be tools to characterize nanoparticles, which involves X-ray, which will have various tools, that is X-ray diffraction, scanning electron microscopy, transmission electron microscopy, atomic force microscopy, and UV/visible spectroscopy. So now we will do a quick revision of our today's topics as well as of previous lectures topics. So we started with the introduction part, that is key points for nanoparticle preparation, then classification of preparation methods, then we studied the gas phase physical preparations. There are few characteristics that we discussed of gas phase preparation. Then we have general strategy for gas phase preparation over here. Then physical preparation, laser processes, wire electrical explosions, sputtering process, gas phase chemical preparation, hot wall tubular reactor, then laser pyrolysis or photothermal synthesis, thermal plasma synthesis, flame synthesis. Then we studied about preparation of carbon nanotube. Then we discussed about carbon nanotube and various types of structures. Properties of carbon nanotubes, that are electrical properties, then we have vibrational properties, mechanical properties, and applications. Then we discussed about liquid phase preparation, metal particles, metal nanoparticles, semiconductors, forced hydrolysis for oxides, suppression of nanoparticle aggregation, etc. Then we discussed about sol gel processing, that is precursors, basic mechanism, gel formation, characteristics of sol gel processes, and then we discussed about the confined growth, which has growth in structured material, growth in microemulsion, then preparation of nanoparticles, droplet to particle conversion, which has introduction, then conventional spray pyrolysis, and various morphologies as shown in this figure. Then the next was assisted spray pyrolysis, that is salt assisted, then polymer assisted was there. So that was all about this chapter. And as I told you, now we will have the chapter of tools. So thank you so much for watching this video.